All right, welcome back to Steamboat Real Estate and Investing, your inside track to real estate, mountain living, and intelligent investing here in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, with me, your host, Ryan Cox. Today, I am joined by Collin Kelley, who founded Carl's Tavern and is now running and operating both Primrose and Cypress restaurants downtown. Collin, how are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for making time to chat with us.
Yeah.
So before we dive straight into all of the exciting things you have in the works, let's rewind and go back to Carl's and kind of your first venture here in Steamboat. Tell us about that and why you came to Steamboat and what that journey's been like.
I moved here in 2010 from Playa del Carmen, Mexico. I was a chef at a resort down there, food and beverage director, overseeing 3 outlets right on the beach. And I met Mark Scully down in Denver at a sushi restaurant when I was sort of contemplating what my next move was going to be. And I was days from signing a lease over in Breckenridge on an Italian restaurant we were going to do over there. And Mark was very inquisitive and has been a mentor to me over the years. But he asked me, why Breckenridge? Why do you like it? And of course, my answer was something about how much I enjoyed skiing there. And he said, but there's no town there. There's no community there. And he said, I'm going to challenge you before you sign that lease to come up to Steamboat. I'm building a project, a couple of them. I want you to come up with your family, anybody you want to bring. I'll set you up in a condo and just spend a weekend in Steamboat or, whatever, a couple of days. And then I want you to go over to Breckenridge. And this was in April.
Okay.
This was in April.
Okay.
The mountains are closed. Nothing's happening. He said, I want you to spend 2 days in Steamboat and then 2 days in Breckenridge, off season, and see where you'd rather live. Where do you want to raise your family? Yeah. And so I went home to my then wife and said, hey, we got this free condo up in Steamboat. Let's go check it out. So we took him up on it. It was a good data point to, at the very least, to, affirm that we were going to do this in Breckenridge. And coming down, like so many of us, coming down 40 on a late April day after it had just snowed like 10 inches, bluebird sky, the whole valley floor was sparkling like diamonds. And the hair on my arm stood up, and it still stands up when I think about that day. We were right there, like by Bella Vista, coming around that big sweeping corner, seeing like Catamount and the whole valley. And I looked over and said, call a real estate agent. We're home. Like, this is it. And she goes, you haven't even seen the restaurant yet. I said, no, I don't need to. My soul just told me this is where I want to be. She said, okay, seriously, we need to see the restaurant first. So we pulled in front of what became Carl's Tavern at Howelson Place, and seeing the location, I looped down to the library and came back down Lincoln just to get a feel of Main Street. And I'm a small town Kansas guy, and Main Street was everything in my hometown. And I saw everything I needed to see, especially looping back and coming back toward the mountain and seeing that postcard view of the ski mountain in the front windshield, and then pulling in on 7th and Yampa going, this is Maine and Maine. Like, if we can't be successful here, we can't be successful anywhere. Sure. So Carl's was formed. He wanted to name it Howelson Grill. And I told him that was too cheesy of a name. So I went to the Tread of Pioneers and I said, tell me about this Carl guy. Yes. And I learned about Howelson Hill and the history of Carl and just the things that he did. I said, I want to build a place that this guy would want to go after a day of skiing and just general badassery. And said, what would that look like? Yes. So that's what we did. And the rest was history. We had no plan B. I mean, I had a $150,000 loan from my grandparents and a $150,000 loan from Mark Scully. And we strapped that thing to our backs and, never looked back. The day we opened that place, we were $3,310 overdrawn. And I said, I got to make payroll by Monday. And we did, and it was instantly beloved by the locals. And, we had a successful run there, and we sold it in 2017. So.
Yeah, it's a great restaurant. And to hear the story of visiting the Tread of Pioneers, and then I'm visualizing the old menu and seeing how that was infused into the name of each burger.
Yeah,
the whole theme and feel was very, very Steamboat and very authentic.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, that's a great story, by the way, the Breckenridge versus Steamboat. Did you wind up going to Breckenridge after your Steamboat?
We didn't. I knew in my stomach that it gets dark there at like 5 o'clock. Yeah. And I mean pitch black dark. And I knew in my gut the whole time that there was no community there, that it's really just it's a ski town and a pass through. And the difference is I-70, right? Like with having the proximity to 70, it's just a different vibe than what Steamboat is. Mm-hmm. You have to want to come to Steamboat. Like Breckenridge is,
no doubt.
I can pop up there for lunch from Denver, and it's not like, a big deal. You're not doing that with Steamboat.
No,
and when I came here, I saw that there's a town with a mountain, not your traditional mountain town.
Mm-hmm.
I truly feel like we could have a winter where it just didn't snow, and we would still have a community here that wouldn't go anywhere.
Which, in some respect, would just happen, right?
True words.
But everybody's still here.
Yeah, we're all.
Everybody's still.
I know that I wouldn't go anywhere, and I know a lot of people wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We would be some hard times, but we wouldn't go anywhere, and that's the difference. I feel like Vail and Breckenridge and Winter Park, some of those places, without the mountain, there's what else is there?
Yeah.
And I feel like we have something different here.
I agree. And what a great endorsement for Steamboat. Obviously, you believe in the Steamboat story. You're heavily invested and continuing to invest. So,
well, the Steamboat, the curse is real. The Yampa Valley curse is a real thing.
No doubt.
When we sold Garls in 2017, I left for 2 years. Still had a house up here. But I left and moved to Denver, and there wasn't a day in my life that I didn't want to be back up here. And I didn't think that I was like depressed or in any sort of a, not good place. But every time I came back up here, I realized like how much better I felt when I was here. And then COVID happened, and the whole quarantine, 2 weeks to flatten the curve thing happened. And I was like, well, I'm going to go up there.
I'm out of here.
And so Emily and I came up here, and we never left. I mean, we never will leave.
Yeah.
That's when the Primrose spot came for sale, and we haven't looked back.
So remind me, when did you open the doors to Primrose?
So we bought the space in August of 20.
Okay.
I was extremely bullish on the fact that it's the same way I view the stock market. Every time it dips, I'm not a seller, I'm a buyer. When I saw that everybody was panicking globally, locally, you name it, everywhere in between, real estate prices dipped for a minute before they doubled. And I knew that Yampa Street real estate was never going to be cheaper than in that moment. Yes. So wanting to get in, we bought it in August of 20 when the market was really at as low as it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
We thought, hey, we can be open here in time for Christmas. Mm-hmm. We got everything teed up to open, and December 10th or 12th, they called no in-person dining. The county health said that everybody had to. So we had all of our employees lined up. The only thing we had bought alcohol, like we had done everything. The only thing we didn't buy yet was food.
Yeah.
So we were able to pump the brakes, and we opened February 1st when they allowed restaurants to go back to 50% occupancy.
Yep.
So we opened February 1, 2021 to 50% occupancy. And because of when we bought and subsequently opened, there was no PPP money. There was no EIDL money. There was no, it was just, so it was not a great time.
It was figure it out.
It was,
but your real estate basis.
The basis was phenomenal. And money, they were giving money away then. I mean, you could borrow, at 2% interest. Mm-hmm. So it was a good time to go into an owner occupied real estate.
Yeah. Great time. You took heed to the, Warren Buffett's adage, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful.
Exactly.
That paid off.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
So you opened then in February, couple of, strange months, of course, there with the 50%.
Then we had a respike in the summertime, but we had patio dining.
Yeah.
So that was good. We were back at 50% for a part of that first summer. But by the next Christmas, it was back to 100%. And, that was the year too that the mountain opened day one at 100%. Mm-hmm. So there was this huge influx. And so our trajectory went
hockey stick
way
numbers.
Yeah.
That's great.
We got into it in 2020, 2021, thinking, man, if we could do dinner only. I was kind of basing it off of my old Carl's number, but I was like, man, if there's a world where we can just do like 2.8 million in revenue, we'll be okay, and we'll make a little living, and the real estate's not going to hurt us, so we'll be able to retire someday. And in 8 months, we had done like 2.8, and I went, okay, we got something here.
That's great.
And God willing, we haven't had a regression yet. We'll see where 2026 ends, but
sure.
With this winter, it was pretty tough. But
yeah. Well, if any of you folks have not tried Primrose, I will say hands down, it is our favorite restaurant. We love coming. Just saw you in there the other night.
Yeah.
So we love it, and no surprise with the success that you've had. So then Cypress as well, that opened now, how long ago?
We're sitting at about 18 months right now.
Okay.
That was, I wanted to I never thought when I sold it in 2017 that I would ever come back around the block. I just didn't think that was in the future, and that was fine, you know. But it sat on the MLS for a while, and I kept watching it, and I kept thinking about it. And when they took the final price reduction, I said, okay, same kind of an outlook. I'm like, it's never going to be cheaper than right now.
Yeah.
And my wife said, look, I support all of your crazy dreams, and I'm with you 110%. And she really is. But she said, I have one condition. You have to change the name. Like, we felt like the equity in that name had kind of gone away. And like I said, it was a different chapter, and with different ownership in there, reputationally, there was things that had changed that I just wasn't sure even me could get it back to what it formerly was. I think a lot of people just were unsure of what it was and where it was going and whatnot. And I felt like the times had changed. So we basically have about 80% of the original Carl's menu on the menu at Cypress. The model wasn't broken. I just felt like the name was. And so we changed the name. The Cypress tree is the unifying thing. It's the red string that ties everything together from New Orleans all the way over to Virginia that kind of defines the American South. And it really, Carl's was always country food and comfort food. And whether people saw that or realized it or not, like I said, I'm from rural Kansas, and as a chef, I've always been wildly inspired by New Orleans and that like cultural melting pot, a culinary melting pot of all of these cultures coming together to make that cuisine. It really was the first original American thought that we had, that because everything on the East Coast during the time that we were creating a culinary identity in this country was really coming from England at the time, and France to a lesser degree, in New York and Boston and those areas. And then as Italians started to make their way over, we got sort of the Americanized Italian on the East Coast. But that melting pot that was happening in New Orleans from generations gone by is really special. It's as uniquely American as jazz music is. And there's a reason those two things are both have homes in New Orleans. And so I really was inspired by New Orleans, but I've spent some time in Virginia and different places like Charleston and Savannah, Georgia, and those kinds of places, that I wanted to kind of write a love letter to those things. So, it's more casual dining, whereas Primrose is the higher end. But it's an interesting time to be in the working class sort of segment. There's a lot of stuff that's happening nationally, and I think is even more magnified in our local economy in that regard, in that we've sort of become a market where you either have two jobs or two homes. And there's really no in between anymore. Anyone who owns their own business kind of counts as two jobs. For sure. With all the entrepreneurs that we have in this valley, which is a staggering number when you start to dig in on that. But you've either got two jobs or two houses, and the people with two jobs are seldom eating out much anymore. There's just too much pressure economically from rent and insurance and just the cost of living. The first thing to go when economic times get hard or when we're in a recession is that disposable income piece is dining. And so people stop eating out. It's the first thing to come back too. So right now, obviously, globally, we're in a little bit of a funk. Nobody wants to say it's a recession. I don't know if it is or isn't, but what I feel on a nightly basis is the folks that I know that have two jobs, I only see for happy hour, and even then, that's very few and far between. And the folks that Steamboat is sort of built on right now, for better or worse, whatever anybody thinks of that, is those two house people. So I see the Primroses and Cafe Divas and higher end of the market thriving right now. On the sales of those folks that have the two houses, whereas I see the lower end of the market is really where the working class families are at. And so that middle of the market is really kind of taking a beating in all directions right now. We've never had higher cost of goods. We've never had higher labor, and then there's less volume. So the margins are razor thin, and
I mean, hopefully we'll see some relief to those inflationary pressures and prices at the pump. With this Iran peace deal, of course, only time will tell, and that takes a while to trickle down to your food costs. I would imagine,
it does. I mean, because everything that gets to us comes either via jet fuel or diesel fuel. Like we don't. Everything that gets here, our seafood from Hawaii and Seattle and Boston, it all gets flown here, and everything else comes up on a truck that's run on diesel. And those fishing boats, they're powered on diesel. And so, diesel at $6 a gallon right now is not helping anybody.
That does not help. No.
And cattle ranchers. I mean, price of beef is we were at an all-time high 2 years ago, and it has doubled since then.
Wow.
I mean, so
wow. So are we at the peak on
we have to
price
be
of beef?
at some level. We have to be, but I also like beef. Things were just starting to look like they would stabilize this summer, and then now there's this screwworm crisis down in Texas. The price of beef futures went up 30% in one day. It's come back down into the teens, but like beef's the number one selling protein in America, and has been. It's increased steadily the last 3 or 4 years. Everybody's on a protein kick. It's hard.
Yeah. Wow. Well, pulling back out, obviously, some challenges to navigate through with the economy and inflation, costs. But obviously, you have a long vision on Steamboat, and you believe in Steamboat, and you continue to build upon. I love that story about the cypress tree and the South of America, and I think you continue to build upon that American story, as I can tell with the direction of your branding from your newest venture, which I definitely want to talk about. So, adjacent to Primrose, you've got a pretty exciting project, the Latigo.
The Latigo.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that is there's so much to unpack there. With the Latigo, I am guilty of seeing like my entire career, I've watched all these people get into the restaurant business who thought it looked fun and easy.
Yes.
And here I am thinking real estate development looked fun and easy. And 3 years and $500,000 later.
How fun and easy is it?
It is not fun nor easy. Standing before a public hearing, being eviscerated.
Yes.
For, a project you poured your heart and soul into. But yeah, so we wanted to, that project started, the inception of that was us wanting to create a boutique hotel and control and curate every touch point from the guest arriving at the front door to checking in at their room and kicking their shoes off to coming down and having a drink at the lobby bar and restaurant. We were not ultimately able, because of code restrictions, to get our parking plan approved. We wanted to go below grade, and there was no world that the city was going to let us do what we wanted to do for below grade parking. So we pivoted and turned it into a condo-tel project where we could still rent the units and create that experience that I think Steamboat is lacking severely from that world-class like hospitality hotel standpoint. We just haven't had that the entire time I've been here.
I would agree.
I do think that the Stockman will help solidify that a little. So I don't feel as much as a self-imposed burden to provide that as I once did. So the condo project, we have 8 residences. They range from 2,000 to 4,000 square feet.
Okay.
Rooftop decks, really top of the line. I think it'll be the finest product in Steamboat when we release them. I really do. We're cutting no corners. We're sparing no expense. These are 8 residences. You wouldn't build a 60 residence building this way, but we just have to sell 8. And I think there is enough demand from the folks who are maybe in their 70s or 80s and they have a place at Marabou or at Alpine Mountain or Storm Mountain Ranch or Sydney Peak Ranch or one of those places, and they want to downsize a little and have single floor downtown living. I think it offers a really interesting opportunity for people who have the big ranch property in South or North Route where they want to have a place in downtown when they come. And then obviously from the investor market, I think there's a lot of people who will be interested in owning one of these units just for the ROI of renting it out, and they'll use it a few weeks out of the year. So we have the 8 residences, and then on the ground floor we have the restaurant space, and that'll be known as Lumbre. Lumbre is the Spanish word for the glow of a fire.
Okay.
And so with this building and this hotel, we were going to be the Hotel Latigo. Now it's just the Latigo, but we were trying to tell the story of how the West was won. We basically wanted to illustrate through food and through the architecture, design, and artwork of the building that narrative of how the West was won and what does that look like, and paying sort of honor to the Native American indigenous people that were here, the Spanish conquistadors who came from Spain, landed in Sonora Desert of Mexico and came up through Arizona and New Mexico into Utah and Colorado. And then, of course, the cowboys and the settlers, the pioneers that came west. And none of that would have been possible without horses and fire. And so the restaurant is sort of an homage to fire. Everything will be cooked over live fire, mesquite, hardwood. And we're going to use a lot of Spanish ingredients and showcase them in the way that this evolved from Spain through being cooked over a campfire in a cast iron skillet by a plainsman or a cowboy who, interacted with the conquistadors or with the natives, and what that looks like. Because so much of that foodway, which is another authentic American thing, is that Southwest cuisine. So there was that. And then on the Latigo, the Spanish word for whip, for a whip, is Latigo or Latigo. And then in Western horse culture, it's the piece of leather, the cinch that goes under the horse to affix the saddle to the horse. And so you couldn't have tamed horses or ridden them without the Latigo on either vernacular. And so that fire and that horse kind of romance is what we're there's something primal and romantic about fire and being on the back of a horse. So that's really kind of the story and the narrative.
I love it.
We're creating there.
I love the storytelling and the thoughtfulness of the branding.
Yeah.
Knowing that you're about to start construction, it's going to be pretty neat to watch that vision unfold.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's great.
I sort of feel like the dog that caught the car at this point. I'm not entirely sure what to do with this big old thing I got in my mouth, but we're fun. It's really fun, and now that we're through the public planning process, now we just have the easy part of financing a build like this. So
and actually building it,
exactly.
Picking all the finishes.
It should be a 2-year build, 27-month build.
Great.
We should be starting October 1st is the plan. And deliver in time for people to have Christmas morning there on 2028.
Amazing. So you said 2,000, 4,000 square feet, 8 units. What is that 3-bed to 5-bed?
So yeah, we've got 2 units that are 3-bedroom, and we've got 5 that are 4-bedroom, and then 1 that's it's really 4 bedrooms with the 5th one can either be a really nice like non-conforming big bedroom, but it wouldn't have windows. Or you could make it a media room. You could make it a really nice big office, and it would. There's a way we make the office where you don't actually have to enter the residence to come into the office. So you could host clients coming in the door, and they never have to go see your living room mess. So it's a really, really flexible space, but it's like a 15 by 20 room that we could make. And I think what I'm seeing both in travel and in just architecture and design is multi-generational living and multi-generational travel. We designed every one of these units to sort of be grandma, grandpa, adult children, and the grandkids, 3 generations in the units. Some of them have really cool bunk over king kind of configurations. We've got a bunk room option in all of them that we can present to potential buyers. Every bedroom in the building can fit a king size bed.
Okay.
So that was something we started with on the blank sheet of paper. What was important for the rental prospect, for the ROI? I said every room has to feel like a master. It needs to feel like a suite for that rental investor. And so we designed it where everything can have a king. And then in some of these bonus rooms, you can either make it a bunk room or an office. Yeah, they're 3 to 5 bedroom, and we've got 4 that face the Yampa, 2 that face the park, and then 2 that are in the alley. The one that's on the 3rd floor of the alley has an unbelievable view from Buff to the whole ski mountain. Wow. Unobstructed from the living room and dining room. So it's got this very urban feel to it. It feels like someone who's from New York or San Francisco or Chicago or whatever, it's going to feel posh, like living downtown. But right there, you've got a postcard view of the ski mountain. And it has a private rooftop deck you can pop up to. So pretty cool unit. And and then the whole building has a rooftop deck with fire pits and a fireplace and an outdoor kitchen and potted garden. And then down in the below grade, we have every unit has a 10 by 10 storage closet. So you got a place to put the golf clubs and the bikes and the Christmas tree and all of that. And we're working with local property management company to create a one-off experience and more of a branded experience of staying there. So it'll be run by a local company that does luxury rentals, but under my sort of control, that we control every guest touch point, and we'll have a manned front desk and a shuttle up to the mountain and all of those kinds of things that make it feel like you're checking into a Ritz-Carlton.
I completely agree with your kind of the genesis of your vision and concept. We really have not had that high quality boutique hotel experience.
And we hear it nightly in the restaurants.
Absolutely.
We hear from guests from all over the world. Man, I love the mountain. I love the food. I love the hospitality. I love every aspect of town. But the number one critique I hear, I mean, and it's all the time consistently, is the lodging options.
And it sounds like, with that angle and that approach you're taking, it sounds like a different project to the Emerald, which is happening just down the street, which is 5 units, and then 608 Yampa, 4 units. Those are your more traditional condos.
Yeah. We wanted to create a place that had a lot of social elements to it, a lot of nooks and crannies that we could create a cool art piece in, or a cool experience. And I think the guest who rents in that building in an STR is going to have that hotel touch point.
Yeah. Very unique experience. The other thing that you said that was interesting, I spoke with Carrie Shea last month. We were talking about all the development on the mountain. You mentioned the Stockman, and we've got over 500 luxury high-end units coming to the mountain. And Carrie is the sales director for 1700 Ski Time Square. And he said the same thing. He said a lot of their initial interest is from folks that are already established in the valley, and that they might be on the big ranch, or maybe they own a big home in Sanctuary or Dakota Ridge, you name it, and they're looking to downsize a bit and simplify, as far as property maintenance management.
I think the people who have multiple homes are at a certain age. And that age might be 65 for some, it might be 80 for others, but they've reached the point where their children are adults and they've got grandkids, and they're looking towards the future and what they want the rest of their life to look like. And they might own 2 or 3 or 4 properties. I mean, what we see, like I'm hearing from a ton of them, is the desire to be able to turn the key and leave, and not have to worry about it. They want that maintenance-free living, and I think you can't get that when you have a ranch home at Marabou or Down Valley. Like you've got to have a property manager. Whereas this, man, you turn the key and you're out. And hey, I'm coming in these days, and it's set up and it's ready for you.
Yeah.
That has a high level of desirability, it seems like.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think you having carved out the niche in downtown, I think you're going to be set up for success. It sounds like it's going to be a very unique project, obviously a passion project. So
it's such a one-of-one property. We're protected on the riverfront, and we're protected by the city park. So if you want those views and you want the quiet peacefulness, we're down there. There's always parking. You can be 35 steps from the front door of our building to the middle of the river, wet in a line. That not many places can offer.
No, that's extremely unique, scarce offering. Do you guys have any idea on price per square foot?
We've got we've got 1 unit that'll be at $1,800 a foot on pre-sale.
Okay.
We are targeting for the 3rd floor, $2,400 a foot. And then it's kind of in between. We've got a sliding scale, but I'd say between $1,800 and $2,400 for pre-sale.
Yeah. Sounds like you're in line with some of the development. Stockman, obviously.
Sounds
Astrid, like they're going to be pushing, up toward $3,000 a foot, maybe on some of their higher-end products.
To rent your unit with their program for Alberge, you have to buy their furnishings package. Most of them are going to top out. They're going to go over $3,000 a foot with the furnishings.
Yes. If people want to look at floor plans, track along with the Latigo, your website?
We're going live with Sotheby's listing this, I think, tomorrow.
Okay.
If not, it'll be early next week.
Yeah.
Probably by the time you post this, we'll be live with Sotheby's, www.latigo-steamboat.com.
Perfect.
And inquiries, or they can reach out to their favorite Sotheby's agent and set up a showtime. But we can do virtual tours at our architecture partner, Vertical Arts Architecture. You can go in there. They have a giant screen, and you can literally walk through the unit in an elevated 3D fashion. You can pick your cabinets and all your finishes. We have 3 separate packages. We've got Cloud9 is doing wiring and home automation for every unit that you could want to do for stereos or intelligent lighting or shades, whatever. We've got HLCC is building it. I think they're the best builder in town for this type of application. We went out. We've got the best of the best in every category to help us build this.
Love it. So before we wrap up, I definitely want to touch on your project in West Steamboat, the food hall market concept. And when we think about the west side of Steamboat, we've seen a ton of development, the base camp townhomes, the apartment building, the Glen now, which is going to be delivering 160 or so homes and townhomes. Sunlight, which is just about fully developed now, just some infill lots effectively at this point. So we've seen a ton of growth over there since COVID. And of course, many people have always said, like Steamboat is missing a boutique hotel, the west side of town is missing
a grocery store.
And you've been one of those people. Tell us about that concept.
Well, to go full circle here, with Carl's, I started out going up and down every restaurant on Lincoln and go, what does Steamboat not have?
Yes.
That's the menu I'm going to write. Yeah. So when I'm looking at an opportunity, new business, or offer a new service in town, it's going to, the blank sheet of paper is going to start with what's not here. Mm-hmm. We don't need another Mexican restaurant. We don't need another, whatever. So I wanted to, my wife and I were sitting, we traveled to Italy, and we were sitting at Italy. Mm-hmm. And I had been to the one in Chicago years ago, like had forgotten about it. And we experienced Italy there. And then our trip in Europe ended in Greece. Mm-hmm. And we went to a market in Greece and had the exact same kind of experience, but even it was tailored way down. And
what is that experience? Because I don't think everybody knows what Italy is.
So Italy is a multifaceted, vertically integrated dining, shopping, learning, tasting experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, it can only be described as an experience. Mm-hmm. Because if you want to do your grocery shopping in Italy, you can. And if you want to go out to dinner at Italy, you can. And if you want to take a cooking class, you can. And if you go to yoga or work out and you want to go get a smoothie and a coffee and meet a friend to hang out, you can. And if you want to get a deli sandwich at lunch and sit there on your computer and work on, they have lightning fast Wi-Fi and tables everywhere that you can sit down and eat. And if you want to go to take the kids to get ice cream and chocolate, you can. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, for me, when I walk in as a chef, Italy to me is like being in Wonka's. It's like a Willy Wonka experience.
Got everything.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
And they almost all of them have 4 or 5 restaurants in them.
Okay.
Big giant deli case, big giant meat, butcher shop, seafood case, all of these things and then cheese and you name it. And so I wanted to create, based on this place we saw in Athens, and Italy has locations all over the world. Their new flagship store is in Dallas. And we flew down to check out the one in Dallas and came away with a legal pad full of notes, that we had made of ideas we wanted to bring to town. Because we knew that we would never be able to compete with Safeway or City Market.
Sure.
So how do we exist in the same space as a national broadline grocer? Well, it has to be experiential, and you have to pay for it. It has to be based on quality and experience, because we're never going to compete on price or number of offerings. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Trader Joe's next to a Costco. Like, it's just not the same model. They're both selling food, but it's a different. So we knew we have to sell something that they don't sell for us to ever have a puncher's chance in that space. So we're going to have an imported, bean from Mexico that you've never had before, that offers you an experience of trying something that is going to make your chili like that much better, or an imported cannellini bean from Italy. People hear that and they read, oh, it's going to be super expensive and bougie. Yeah. It's not. Okay. Like, there are options out there in the world through different distributors and purveyors and vendors. We're talking like 10, 20 cents more a can. We're not talking about a $3 can of beans. Mm-hmm. That's not where we're going to be. So I want to assure all of our locals, it's not going to be so expensive or tailored to specialty items. We're going to have the basic pantry essentials, but so much more. We're going to have the salad bar where you pay by the pound. You just load up your toppings however you want to build it, pay by the pound, all homemade dressings. We're going to focus on organic and healthy, natural anywhere we can. But there's some places where,
it breaks the bank.
It breaks the bank, or the value add just isn't there. I mean, I know numerous local producers who grow a tomato. Is it an organic tomato? Well, they didn't get certified by the USDA.
Sure.
But the only thing that ever touched it was water from their hose and their bare hand. Like, it's organic in every sense of the word.
Yes.
They didn't put any fertilizer on it. They didn't put any, pesticides or herbicides. They grew it in their greenhouse and brought it in. Yeah. But because the USDA, they didn't pay the USDA to say, yes, that's organic. It's not an organic tomato. Yeah. Well, for me, I'd rather have that tomato than the one that came from California. Yeah. So we're going to focus on just what's good and what's fresh and what's in season. But we'll have steaks and seafood and fresh pasta cases. The rest, like, we'll have dining options in-house. The whole central to the whole thing is a bar, which is really a community gathering space. I want that to be a space for the West Side.
Mm-hmm.
We have this big garage door that opens up, the bar's right there, and then there's this big outdoor patio. And I really think that that becomes the hub for the West Side to gather.
Yeah.
And the families and the kids, the lacrosse team and the soccer team. Well, let's meet over there at 40 West and let's, get a couple pizzas and let the kids get some ice cream. We're going to have an ice cream truck out on the patio, pizza kitchen. So I think that it becomes that community gathering spot.
Mm-hmm.
And bars for the last, 500 years have been where people gather. And so we put a bar right there so you can get a glass of wine or a pint while you're walking around grocery shopping.
Yeah.
If you want to dine in, we've got tables up on the mezzanine level that you can dine in. We'll have a full menu. But if you want to pick up your steak or meat or whatever, fish, it's going to be the same proteins, same center of the plate, we call it, as we serve at all of our restaurants.
Okay.
We're going to have a bakery in the space that will have fresh breads and fresh buns and fresh, you name it. We have a pastry chef, Sarah, who's on Team USA in the the World Cup of pastry. She's on the team. She's my pastry chef. She's going to oversee the whole bakery operation and have sweet treats as well as bread that we'll have for sale. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, you'll be able to come in the morning, get a smoothie, a juice, a latte, and a croissant. Lunch, you can come. We'll have the salad, the pizza, any of those kinds of things. And then the deli, we got a big, giant 15 by 15 deli kind of component right out in the middle to get a sandwich or shaved meats and do whatever you want there. And then, happy hour dinner, it's the full thing. So I'm really excited about it, super passionate about it. It's the only market segment that has lower margins than restaurants. So I'm just really
definitely a passion project.
For sure. I thought for us, it was so much more. For me, a huge advocate for workforce housing and all of that. I think that someday something is going to happen at Slate Creek, Brown Ranch, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I moved here when Steamboat 700 was on the ballot.
Sure.
And someday somebody is going to live there.
Yes.
And I don't know what that looks like, but when somebody lives there, that to us was the sprinkles on the top of the sundae.
Yeah.
But there's so much basis over there of people who are underserved in the grocery and dining segments. And then I started talking to all of the people who live in Hayden. And they have to backtrack through downtown to go to the grocery store to turn around and drive to Hayden or Craig.
Yeah.
And then all the people from Clark and North Route started talking to me about, oh my God, do you know how much of a pain it is for us to drive down, go through town, and then have to go back north? For them, they're saying, I'm going to save them 20 to 30 minutes of transit. And that's huge. I mean, we all know how valuable time is. And so we really built it for what is not here.
Yeah.
How do we share this experience that we've had in these European markets and offer it to, our hometown? And we built it for all the right reasons for all the locals. And then the other night at the restaurant, a lady tells me it's going to be our first stop when we come from the airport. I didn't even think about the fact that it'll be the first opportunity for people to pick up food when they're, as the tourists are hitting town.
Sure.
So, I think it could explode. I really think it could be a big thing over there when you take all of those factors.
Love it.
Well, that should be opening next year, Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
Our target grand opening is that Friday on Memorial Day weekend.
Wow. So much exciting momentum and activity. And I just want to say I've got a ton of respect having done development work. It's not easy going up with the planning commission and being subject to all those public comments. Love what you're doing. I'm a big fan. I can't wait to watch all these things unfold. So I'm thinking back to the story you told, pulling down into the Yampa Valley for that first time. What is a ideal day now that you're here, settled, busy, working? Hopefully you're getting to play a little bit with the family and do some things that you love. But what does your ideal Steamboat summer day look like if you've got the day off?
Steamboat summer day off. I've got 4 daughters. One of our favorite things to do is to go out to Lake Catamount and cruise around on a pontoon boat, hang out in the pool, or I like to get around to golf in once a week, twice if I'm real lucky. I got to play twice this week.
Nice.
But yeah, golf and lake with the family in the summer is ideal, and then grill something at home on the patio and just hang around and watch them. Just watch the kids kind of run around and grow up before our eyes. And then in the wintertime, snowmobile. We have fallen in love with snowmobiling. Nice. So we go up and snowmobile as a family and do that, and the rest of the time is working. I mean, I love my work. And
I love it. So somebody who's coming to visit Steamboat this summer, top 5 things you'd suggest they do?
Well, I think you got to come down to Yampa Street for the farmers market in the summertime. That's like number 1. You got to do that. course, happy hour on the patio of either Primrose or Cypress is probably number two. No, you got to go to Strawberry Park Hot Springs. I think you got to float the Yampa, golf at any one of our 4 or 5 amazing golf courses. We love to drive down to the flat tops or up to Steamboat Lake and go north or south, 45 minutes in any direction, and we feel like we really went somewhere. But and then of course free summer concert. Like I'm really excited about tomorrow night's show. Lettuce is a great band.
That'll be fun.
That's probably mine.
Perfect. I love it. Last question. This is probably difficult for you to wrap your mind around right now, given the scale of what you have going on. But if you had $1 million to invest in something that was not 40 West or Latigo, what is Collin Kelley doing? What does he have his sights set on next?
If I had $1 million to invest in something that isn't one of my projects, I would buy land at Stagecoach.
Okay.
I would buy a lot at Stagecoach because I don't know what. I mean, there's a lot across the street that's for sale. I like Barn Village a lot, but no, I think that land opportunities in Steamboat are dwindling quickly. I think Stagecoach Mountain Ranch is happening. It's a matter of when, not if. I think at this point, and the values down in Stagecoach have to go up as a product of that.
Yeah.
And so speculatively, I would invest $1 million in buying however many lots that would get me down at Stagecoach.
Got it. I'm picking up on another potential venture for you out in the future with that answer. We'll revisit that on another podcast, maybe if that's a thing. Well, thank you so much for your time. Yeah. And again, congrats on all that you have going on. Really appreciate it, and look forward to watching it all come to fruition.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Great.